Hello everybody and welcome back to Costume Quest. We are just getting ready to sort of wrap things up. We pretty much finished everything that there was to finish in the game last time. And off screen I made a couple of little preparations for the boss battle ahead of us. So if you go up the hill from the teleporters there, you can see that there's a bit of a path of candy to just sort of tease you, and it lets you know you're going in the right direction. So if you need a few stray pieces of candy for anything, these are here. You'll also want to make sure that you're in the robot costume to go up and down these ramps, because you will need to go up the ramps in order to make your way up to the final boss. So once you see these bags of candy, this is a good point to just stop and take a look at your costumes and everything just to see if you're satisfied. I'm actually going to switch out the robot for the knight. I don't think it would be an issue to use the robot really, but I like to play this last bit of the game really defensively, just because that is a little bit easier for me, and the knight is definitely a good costume for that. We're going to be able to get some additional health, and the knight is also pretty strong. We'll have access to the shield ability. I went ahead and I put the vampire costume on Everett because the healing ability is really useful. And on Lucy I have the unicorn costume. We haven't had a chance to bust out the unicorn in quite some time, but the unicorn, if we remember from way back, has the ability to actually resurrect a party member. So I've got mostly healers in my party and going with the knight instead of the robot for a bit more defense than offense, but I think that will primarily also be most of my damage, even still. As for battle stamps, I went ahead and put the disembodied 6-fingered stamp onto Ren, which will still allow me to get some extra counter attacks in for a little bit of extra damage per turn. On Everett, I have the 2-ply toilet paper stamp, and basically what this does is it allows us to stun an enemy, and that may or may not come in handy for this fight. Sometimes you don't need it, but I like to have it on just to be more safe than sorry. And then finally on Lucy, we have the moldy pumpkin guts, because believe it or not, we can actually do a bit of poison damage to this boss here. So with that said and done, we've got everything prepared. Let's go ahead and confront Dorsilla once and for all. Trick or treat! How sweet, and such nice costumes. Here's a nice big piece of candy right here. The only problem is I don't think it wants to go with you. This candy never wants to see you again. Dorsilla is taking me somewhere far away where I'll be appreciated. Listen, I was totally being a jerk when I said that thing, and before that I was also being pretty jerky, but we have to stick together. You're all coming with us. We're going to step through that magic portal to a world where I will be treated as a queen. Will we all be in positions of royalty on the other side? And we'll rule for 1,000 years, but when we come back, only 10 minutes have passed? What? No. You will be dressed up as candy, tossed in a sack, and handed over to Big Bones to satisfy my debt. We're not coming with you, my brother's not coming with you, and no one is touching our costumes. Well then. So much for treat. She's only here to trick us today, unfortunately. No candy. So she looks pretty cool in battle, if I do say so myself. That's quite a getup she's got. She looks very different from how she looks not in battle. So you can see here that we are in for a heck of a fight. She's got a whopping 4,000 HP and she's level 20. But don't let that intimidate you. As long as you have the right setup, it shouldn't be too difficult. And my setup should do just fine. So here she's taken one of our party members hostage, and basically what she'll do is she'll force you to attack the vine cage surrounding your party member instead of her in order to free them. Now this can usually be done in one turn because it's not very strong, but it is a little bit of a nuisance because you can't actually attack Dorsilla, and it just lets her get, you know, more of a shot in, which is pretty annoying. But this is why I kind of chose to go defensively rather than offensively with this battle. It does take a little bit longer if you're not doing as much damage to her, but I also think it's just the safest thing to do. Just because it is a long battle regardless, just because she has so much health. And she's got an interesting mix of attacks. We haven't actually seen anything too dangerous so far. She's taking it pretty easy on us, actually. So now she has made some duplicates of herself, which can get a little bit hairy because they all have the ability to attack us. So it's a 3-on-3 battle. And I don't really have any particular strategy, to be honest. I just kind of attack them until I can get rid of one, and then I just focus on another, and so on and so forth. You do a lot of damage to the extra pairs, so it doesn't actually seem as difficult as it is. And I'm saving all my special abilities for when I know that I'll need them. So I think the one on the left is the real Dorsilla, just because the other two are taking such a massive beating. And I'm doing so much more damage to them. So we're gonna quickly take care of this middle one here. And when she starts to charge her attack like this, you're gonna want to use the 2-ply toilet paper on her with whichever party member you have that ability equipped to. So in my case, it's Everett. And it will actually make her stop casting that spell. So, like I said, you won't always need that. She won't always try to do that, but it's really nice to be able to stop that attack with a stun. Because that is probably her most dangerous attack that causes the most amount of damage. So if you can avoid that, then it just makes this fight a lot easier. Because honestly, she hasn't really done a whole lot to us. When you look at our health, it's probably not a bad idea to get myself healed up here. I'll use Everett's ability. But for the most part, it's not like I'm hurting. I'm not in a lot of trouble. And I can also use the unicorn's ability to heal normally. I don't have to be dead in order for the unicorn's healing to work. And that's something to keep in mind as well. If you really in need of a heal and the vampire doesn't have that ability available, the unicorn does, then by all means go ahead and heal yourself up. So at this point, she's really just stalling. Because I would have been able to kill her on this turn if I didn't have to free Ren. I honestly probably could just go for it and kill her, but because Ren is my best attacker, we'll just go ahead and free her. And we'll take her out. That really wasn't so bad. You can see there we get our final stamp. And once you've got all the stamps, you'll also get another achievement for that. You just wanted to leave this horrible world. Why won't it let you go? Are you too beautiful? Oh, please. No one understands me here. Right. So, before you talk to Dorsilla again, you're going to want to equip the No-Eyed Vampire Bat badge, or at least I would recommend it, because it's a very, very useful ability to have a large amount of HP recovery per turn. And I'm going to go ahead and put that onto Lucy. And the reason I'm putting it on Lucy is because she has the unicorn costume on, and so she's the character that I want to keep alive most out of all of my party members, because we're going to be in for a little bit of a beating shortly. I'm also going to put the Vegetarian Witch's Brew stamp on, and I think I'll go ahead and put that on Everett. The stun ability isn't going to be useful to me shortly, so I will put that onto Everett, and I will keep the counter attack on Ren just so we have a little bit of additional attack power. So we are actually in for another fight, and so I might cut it off here. I thought this boss fight was going to take me a lot longer, if I'm being honest, but I think if I try to squeeze the next part of this into this video, it's just going to go on for too long. So I've made all the preparations here. I'm literally just going to stop this recording and start another one, and we will continue on with part 2 of, I guess, what you could call the finale of Costume Quest. So thank you all so very much for watching. I'll be back shortly, and I hope you will join me then.